moment. Let it get people in here. Uh, I figured I know a lot of my friends personally are well. I let me start with myself first. Hello. So I've been talking to a lot of my closer wrestling friends. I've been talking to a lot of people in general, a lot of people, but specifically, I have a lot of, I do have a lot of wrestling friends who are going through quite a bit emotionally, and talking to them has been helping me personally. So I figured, why not try to address as many of them as I possibly can? Two birds, one stone kind of thing. And this seems to be the best platform. This is how everybody does things now anyways, right? This is social media. We can do this. So I know one of the biggest things, myself included, very specifically myself, and with a lot of my friends and a lot of my wrestling buddies, is there's been a lot of letdowns in the business, a lot of failure, I guess, is a strong way to put it. But it's not really failure. It's, if anything, it's a, I don't know how to phrase it, but let's call it a sign. Let's just call it a sign for now. What I've learned since I started pro wrestling in 2016, I've had to learn to be okay with failure, and that is not an easy or very rewarding task. Let alone, it's also really hard to explain. Being okay with failure. Michael Jordan, if we're using analogies, Michael Jordan probably said it the best, that he took a ton of game-winning shots at his team and his coaches and all that. They believed in him to take it, and he missed like 30 of them. But they believed in him. His reward wasn't failure, because it didn't make him worse. It didn't make him a terrible player. It didn't make him a worse teammate. It made him more confident. Like, these people, we're talking lots and lots of people, including everybody watching at home, they believed in this one individual. Even when he missed consecutively, they still went to him. A lot of these guys, my friends in training and all that, yes, thank you. A lot of these guys, we go to training, we go hard, we go to these matches, we go to these shows, we do these promos, we do all this stuff, and we put a lot of energy into what we do, okay? There's not a lot of reward, because a lot of what we do behind the scenes and sometimes in the scenes is thankless. There's not a lot of instant gratification, which we all want. We all want it. We all want the high fives, the autographs, the taking pictures, the main events, the titles, and all this stuff. We all want that. We all want people to see us. We want to shine. We want to do well. But we all have a lot of bad habits. The biggest one, and I definitely, I am no saint. The biggest one that a lot of my friends have in common is being too envious. What I've found, and what we've all talked to each other about, is being envious is creating so many roadblocks, one after the next after the next. And in a lot of cases, it's been leading to a lot of my friends, including myself, to getting like depressed at times, because we're like, why isn't that us? Why can't we have this, that, and the other thing? So instead of being thankful and saying, oh yeah, look at my dude, look at my people, they're all doing these things, they're doing great things, they're moving on, they're going places, they're getting these shots, they're talking to these people, they're networking like crazy. They're doing all these things that we want to do, but instead of being thankful about it, we're moaning about it. We're not always being thankful. We're not always being supportive. Because, yeah, we all want to be there, right? We all want to go to the top. We all want to watch each other grow. But the envy is getting in the way. And ever since I started, it's been a consistent problem. I don't have a problem admitting my faults because I know them. I've had to acknowledge them. Being envious is one of them. Because I'm envious, a lot of the times I go down bad paths, I get in these dark places, and I have to talk to my friends, and I have to talk to my girlfriend, I have to talk to my family, I have to talk to all these people. Yeah, I have to talk to these people about what can I do? Like, why can't I get past this? Why can't I get past the fact that I'm watching my best friends, they're doing everything that they love. They're doing everything that they love, and I'm seeing myself sometimes, not always, but I see myself and I watch the people around me borderline just hating on it because of the envy. They want to be that, but they're also not doing the work that it takes to get there. There's so much sacrifice involved in this specific business and in this sport and in this industry. There is seemingly an insurmountable level of competition in pro wrestling. But again, it's all up here. And you have to get past the envy to get to that point. If you get stuck in being envious, you'll stay down here permanently. You'll never move on. You will always be here, and you will never go anywhere. And all your friends, they're going to do this because they support each other. Don't be surprised if your friends stop talking to you because you're not on the same level. You don't want it as bad as they do. Surround yourself with positive, like-minded people. Your envy will go away. Why? Because you're all supporting each other. You all have the same goal, the same dream, the same vision, the same work ethic. That's how it goes. You don't have time for this. You do not have time for this, ever, at all. You can't. Even in real jobs. If you're working at a Dairy Queen or some kind of thrift store or whatever, you have to have high expectations. But you also have to be around people that have that same vision and that same thought. Or that envy is going to take over. And you'll slip right back into the bad habits. I've had a lot of people lately telling me that because I make music and I make beats on my computer and I send them out all over the place. I post them left and right. I let everybody know about them. I've been getting told more and more and more. My music has been almost like therapy for a lot of people. And if I'm being very specific, I don't know if she's in this, if she's watching right. I don't think she is. But my mom, I didn't post about it. Oh, here we go. I'm going to try not to get too emotional, but it's really hard. So my mom was in a bad accident where had it been, I don't even know how to explain it, but in all reality, she really shouldn't be here right now because of what happened and the rolling and the car accidents and all this. But one of the things that she told me that's been helping her so much is listening to my music. And my music is very, very emotional. It is extremely emotionally based. I have a lot of music that's really high energy, and I have some that's really dark, really gross, and just, it doesn't feel very good. It has that almost like a creepy undertone. And you can tell, you can almost tell my mood based on the sounds that I'm putting out there, the instruments that I'm picking, the tempo, how quick or how fast it is or how slow it is, all of that. You can tell my mood just based on that. And she told me that she went to my page, she liked it, she clicked on it, and she just listens to it constantly because it gets her through the day. She's in a brace. and she's not working. I think her only companions are her animals right now. There's not a lot of positive things going on there. She's far away from me. She's far away from my brother. She's far away from her brothers and sisters and her mom. Fairly isolated. She needs the positive energy. She needs the all that stuff. So she gets it from my music. I provide her an out. Just like wrestling, every single time I put a singlet on, every time I pull up my knee pad, anytime I put on my boots, my job is to make you forget. Forget that you're in debt. Forget that your rent's due and you're not going to make it. Forget that you have a boo-boo on your knee. Forget all that. Forget that you just got in a fight with your loved one, or your brother's having a hard time, or your stepdad just told you, hey, I've got cancer. My job specifically is to remove you from that. I've been told that there are times that I do a really good job of that, and I will never settle for less. I will always strive to be better at that, because I want people to be so excited that when I come out, they're not on their phones unless they're taking pictures or anything like that, because they know what I'm going to give them is quality. It's part of the surrounding yourself with positive people. In order for me to get to that level, I have to keep finding those same people and putting myself on that level with them. I need to bring myself up and be taught constantly. I'm always training, I'm always learning, I'm always asking questions, I'm always YouTubing, I'm always doing stuff. Because I can't be stuck in a rut, I can't be envious. Or again, I will stay down here and I will never elevate myself, ever. It's just how it's going to be. Recently, we lost. Well, we didn't lose. That sounds so negative. We didn't lose. We had a really close friend of ours make a really big leap in his career in the wrestling world. And what blew my mind, it completely astonished me, honestly, was the amount of hate that he got. The borderline backstabbing, if you really want to break it down, that's pretty much what it was. Like false compliments, false hope. There was a lot of, hey, hope you make it, do well. But behind the scenes, that envy was all too real. There was a lot of fake good jobs and a lot of, oh, you're probably not going to do well. But either not said directly to them, or it was just kind of talked about. That's the kind of stuff that we got to get away from. Even in our friendships. Even in our friendships, we can't afford that kind of stuff. I thin out my friends lists on a monthly basis. So you're still here. Thanks for still being here. Thanks for being fun. Thanks for not. And it has nothing to do with, oh, I don't like your beliefs or anything like that. It has everything to do with being able to listen, have conversation, and be okay with everything. It all comes down to conversations, and as people, that's what we do. We have a very specific way of communicating, whether it be non-verbally or just in our words. And it has everything to do with punctuation in our words and how we say that. And by no means am I a pro, by the way. These are all just things, life lessons and things that I've learned along the way. Things that have helped me in tremendous ways. While also describing my failures along the way. I know I'm not the best at communicating. I struggle pretty hard with it. A lot of the people that I work with or that I train with, or even my closest friends, most of the time they don't even know what's going on because I don't know how to communicate it, or I don't want to. Simply, I don't want to, and it's part of a fear because I don't want them to feel like now they have to take care of me. And I understand that might sound selfish, but that's just how I work, and it does affect me a lot because sometimes now I'm overburdened, and it's just me sitting here in all my stuff, trying to trudge through it and trying to work through it. But again, I have to find my own outs, and I have to figure out my own ways of doing things. And the biggest ones that I have are wrestling and making music. Again, those two very specific things completely remove me from my world. I get out of my head, and I'm so absorbed in making my music. I don't hear things. It's funny because sometimes I don't even eat. I'll go without eating because I'm so into this. I forget that I'm even hungry. Yes, it does come down to honor and respect. That is extremely true. And that's also why my friendships are so... The friends that I do have and the relationships that I do have with all these... I have a ton of friends. Or, I guess, in specifically speaking, I have a lot of acquaintances. My friends is probably it's probably 4 or 5, maybe 6 people, very specifically. These people know everything about me. They know my faults. They know where I'm struggling. They know what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis. Because I trust them the most. And again, it's because they keep me up here. I'm not saying I have friends down here. I'm saying I have the people that I keep the closest to me keep me here. They keep me level. And that's where I forever want to be. I don't want to be anywhere close to down here. Because if envy creeps in... Yes, thank you. Yeah, I will. I will do that, Kane. Trust me. But that's what it comes down to. Is it's I've noticed a lot of the conversations I've been having. We talk about all these things about, oh, I'm having a rough time, this, and this. And then when we start talking about ways to improve it, because we're not just sitting there venting and complaining and, oh, this, that, and the other thing, or, oh, money problems, oh, relationship problems, my car sucks, this, that, I'm not doing well here. It's not just venting and complaining and getting things off our chest. We're trying to find solutions. We're throwing things at each other to say, okay, well, let's change one thing at a time. Sure, like, to be specific, I'll go back to myself. In wrestling, there were many times that I wished I visually, I wish I physically looked like everybody else. Everyone else has these rippling abs and these extremely toned bodies with the long hair and all that stuff. My envy level for that was through the roof, because I figured I will never get booked ever because I don't look like that. And why? Because I love food. That's why. I like food. I'll never have a six-pack because I like food. So in order to take my envy levels down a few notches, I needed to make changes. Being so envious about these other people that were in such amazing shape, I would lose sleep. I would have bad attitudes. My self-esteem was trash. It was affecting my work. I started eating more. Like, it was one chain after the next, and it felt like it was not going to stop. That's how it felt. So me and my girlfriend, we talk. We talk about it all the time because it comes back. It comes back. Not all the time do I feel great about myself. Like, I am in a much better place now than I've ever been, mentally and physically and spiritually. I am much more confident in everything that I do, even with the weight that I am at. I don't have that envy anymore. Do I want to get better at myself? Yeah, of course I do. I always want to work better and present myself in a much better way. But my level of envy is gone. I don't have that anymore. I'm not thinking, oh, they're only like that because they look so good, blah, blah, blah. No, Because, I mean, there's plenty of big guys out there that are doing great and that are getting paid a lot, and they're on extremely high levels of the wrestling world. Great. Good. Keep them there. They deserve it. They earned it, right? They earned it. They earned it. And they're, yeah. But that was a bad habit. That was a roadblock. That was a mental block that I had, and I was stuck. For an exceptionally long time, I was stuck. So instead of wallowing in all this, in being the best host of my own one-man pity party, instead of being stuck and always thinking, well, I'm here, it's not going to change, so I guess whatever. Instead, we came up with ideas. How can we fix this? What can we do? And trying to be the optimist that I like to think that I am, made lists, and we just picked one. Just pick one thing, one small change, because eventually it's kind of like working out and being happy. Once you feel it and you feel how good it is to change something, it becomes addicting. Like, I always want to feel this way. I always want to feel good. So one of the things I started doing was I cut out soda for a long time. I mean, I'm kind of back on it more or less. But when I cut out soda and I cut out beer and I cut out drinking entirely, which socially I'm not a drunk or anything, I was sleeping better. I was getting up more. I had more energy. And I didn't feel bloated constantly. My clothes fit better. And I didn't feel like I was blowing out all the time. I held on to that for a really long time because it made me want to go to the gym more. It made me want to be in public more and seen more. I started feeling more confident in the ring, in training, doing all this stuff because I felt different. My body chemistry changed. I felt good. And I forever wanted that feeling. So I also, after feeling like I'd accomplished that, I started looking at food. I started cutting out, or at least limiting as much as humanly possible, fast food. In turn, I had way more energy when I got home. I was going to bed sooner because it normally takes me a while to wind down. But because I didn't have all this heavy grease and half real, half not, or heavily salted foods, my skin was in better condition. I was sleeping better. I mean, in general, I just had better vibes. I had clearer thoughts. I wasn't struggling to stay awake or anything. Like, I would sleep and I would wake up and it was great. And it's just beating down roadblocks. That's what it comes down to. And I had so much help. I had so much help from my friends, from my family, from the wrestling community, from my trainer, everything. It's such a team effort while also being completely and solely on you that it's that reward in itself, while during that process is thankless, is extremely thankful. And other people gravitate to you. When you're positive, when you're in better spaces, when you're showing these signs of, oh man, I have so much energy, I'm happy all the time, I want to go do stuff, other people come to you. That's how it goes. Not everyone wants to be around someone who's negative or has a really shitty look on life. It's not fun to be around. Those are toxic people. We don't want to be around these people. Unless, again, you're stuck down here. That envy's there. One of the things that me and my friends were talking about in the wrestling world is at one point I was doing really well. I was losing weight. I was getting stronger. My matches were getting a lot better. My everything that I was doing was showing drastic improvements. And one of my other wrestling buddies was like, "Hey, you're doing great, but I wish I was on the same level as you." Okay, well, how are we gonna change this? Because you're one of my closest friends. We need to be on the same page. I can't have you down here. I need you to be up here with me because this is how we're successful. And we talked for months. And what it came down to was I just need to be around you. I just need to be around. I need to feel your energy. And that's exactly what we did. We planned a whole day around it. We traveled, we went and saw them. Well, thank you. We planned a whole day for it. We literally made a day of it. Went up, hung out, had dinner, did some fun activities, and then even went and wrestled the next day. Everything we did was for each other. So the envy that my friend had at one point, it wasn't a lot. It was just, I just want to be where you are. And that the negative headspace of, well, I don't know if I can get there, was gone immediately. It was gone. Because we're on the same page, we're on the same wavelength. We want the same things for each other. And that's, if you get anything out of my rant, if you will, I just really hope it's something along the lines of, just offer an ear to your friends, to your family, to really anybody who you think might be struggling or that you know is in a bad place. Conversations involve listening. That means you shut your mouth and you listen. Just because you have a really good idea in your head or you have a really good question in your head, that doesn't mean you stop listening and wait until they're done talking to throw it at them. You keep listening. Your idea doesn't matter. Let people talk. Don't put yourself up here because you think your ideas are better or anything. When they're talking to you, you stay here. You have to. That's how me and my friends have been able to build each other up and stay on the same pages, and we're on the same wavelengths. We all have the same hunger to do the same job because we're open, we talk, and we listen. We don't just badger each other, boom, boom, boom. Hey, you need to do this. Stop doing that. You're messing all this up. It's never that. It's, hey, I got a problem, or hey, I got a question. Let's meet. Boom, done, fixed. Or addressed. It's not always fixed right away. I think that's going to wrap it up, honestly. So, I guess to recap, you have to be okay with failure because it's the only way you learn. Failing is how you learn. You can't, I'm not saying accept defeat, but be okay with not succeeding because that's how you learn. You're not gonna learn. Well, I mean, in a really extreme case, you can use Ronda Rousey in her UFC fight. She never lost. She never lost. And then when she finally did, she couldn't handle it. She couldn't do it. She admitted that herself. I'm not putting words in her mouth. Well, thank you. That's what she said. And then she went on to WWE. And guess what? She learned from her failures. Now look at her. She's doing fantastic. But what it comes down to is being okay with your failures. That's how you learn. You miss a shot, okay. What'd you do wrong? Okay, maybe it was the flick of the wrist. Maybe it was I didn't have my feet straight. You failed in a wrestling match. What'd you do wrong? Maybe you didn't listen. Maybe you weren't listening to the crowd, or maybe you didn't listen to your trainer that one time, or maybe you weren't training hard enough. Maybe you didn't want it enough. You know? Being okay with failure. That's how you learn. Envy, mental roadblocks, and bad mental habits pretty much go hand in hand. In order to get past these things, from my experience specifically, you have to pick something that you are willing to change, or even that maybe that one thing that you have been wanting to change or to work on, and address it and work on it. Just go at it. Pick one thing, and just go. Whether that's, oh, I'm having too much sugar, so instead of drinking Pepsi, I'll switch to Diet Pepsi. You'll feel better, I swear. One thing, just pick one thing and go with it. Even if you have a mountain of things that you need to work on, just pick one. There's plenty of failure in here. Pick one thing to succeed on. That's all I'm saying. Envy comes and goes. It's forever in our genetic makeup. We're going to want other things or things that we can't have. It's just how it's going to go. But that doesn't mean that you can't support other people who have what you don't. So, failure, envy, roadblocks, and conversations. When you're having these in-depth conversations, it's not about who can talk the fastest or how many points you can get across to the other person. It's one person talks, one person listens, and the person who's listening needs to listen. They need to drop their ego. They need to drop everything that's up here and just listen. That's their job. When you're talking to me, I'm listening to you. I'm not planning my next question. I'm not thinking, oh, well, that's dumb or anything like that. I'm letting you talk because that's what I want you to do. I want to help you. Remember, when you're feeling here and you think I'm up here, I want to help you. And in order to do this, when you're down here, open line of communication. You have to listen or you'll never be here. Be okay with failure. Understand that envy can be reversed and can be extremely supportive. I mean, there's a lot of people that I know that are vastly more successful than me, and I am envious of it, but it doesn't ruin me, and I don't not support them for it. I'll support them till the day I die, till I can't breathe. I will forever support them because they're my friends, and I love them for it. Conversations. Just listen. People, you're right. People don't listen. They stop. Just listen. Just try it. I guess we'll end here. That's been a half an hour. I think I'm done talking.